water my seeds too. Is Mom, can I water my plant?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I can't because there's no water in it, so I'm just gonna go fill it up first. I'm gonna fill this up.
After you rub all over your tomatoes, gotta do that. Smells like summer. There's a little update on my summer seedlings. Let's see. Peppers, I always really struggle with germination. It's been better since I showed you in the last video where I do a little seed in the wet paper towel and plastic bag trick. That has helped immensely, but I still just have a hard time getting peppers to germinate. So in the trays, it looks a little like there's a lot of missing holes, and there is, but I always overplant to try to accommodate for that. I actually have 1.5 trays, which is going to be more than enough for us and other people that are going to be eating from this garden. I've got lots of medicinal herbs, and sometimes those take a long time to germinate. I'm really excited because I started St. John's wort and it's doing really good. I've got some sprouts coming up on that. I started more celery and they're just now coming up. Basil's doing awesome because it always does. And then flowers. I know I'm not a flower grower or farmer. That's just new. I just decided this year we were going to go for it. We were going to try some new ones. Zinnias are always a winner. I've got some marigolds in the back, some dahlias, but things like asters and black-eyed Susans, they're just not germinating very well. But whatever. Whatever I get from that is just value added. It's not going to interfere with my medicinal garden plans or my vegetable garden plans. We just found that last year we really, really loved having flowers in the garden. So hopefully after this weather gets it together this week, I can pot up my tomatoes and peppers and basils and get them out of my dining room and into the greenhouse. That's the goal. Let's go to the garden. One of my favorite things to do. You guys ready? Hey Grace, you probably need a sweater, honey. Hi, fans. Yeah, goofball. I've been working hard at getting in the ground. I've got lots of cabbages. And I've got some kale, more cabbages, some greens, onions interplanted as well, because those help with pest control. I've got broccoli, which is all looking really good. I'm very excited. Aaron's mowing. It's the first official mow of the season, and he gets pretty excited about that. He really does enjoy mowing grass, but towards the end of the season, he's like over it. So we always have to document his first mow. Hopefully, though, it's not too loud and y'all can hear me okay. But I've got one big goal for today, and that is garlic bed taken care of. It's getting a little weedy, so I went through last night and weeded all of that. But I noticed that the leaves are yellowing, and I've got some some yellowing on the leaves, some irregular growth. Some are real big, some are real small. So that bed needs some love. I've got a compost tea that I made that has been soaking for a few days, so I'm just going to water it real good with that, and then keep laying down the hay and droppings, for lack of a better term, from the goat barn. That also helps lock in the moisture, which garlic needs, and all of the waste from the animals makes excellent compost. I've talked about this before, but goat is a cold manure, so you don't have to let that compost out like you do chicken. You can really just lay that right on the beds, and by the time we go to eat that garlic, it's going to have sat for a while, so it's not going to be a problem. We've never had a problem in the past. So the other morning I was laying in bed. It was entirely way too early. It literally dawned on me that this is my 5th garden year. I couldn't believe it, because I feel like such a novice, especially when you look at a lot of the other people on YouTube and social media sharing their gardens, and they've been doing this for a very long time, or they at least look like they're doing it for a very long time. But I don't feel like I feel like 5 years is a long time. Our first garden but it's not in the grand scheme of things, but I just, like I said, consider myself still a novice, and I think like I'm in year 1, and I'm not. But our first 2 gardens were at our house in Florida. If you didn't know, we moved to North Georgia from Florida about 4 years ago. And we did raised beds down there because in Central Florida, it is sand and sand spurs and weeds, and there just was no way we could have done it any other way. So we did raised bed gardening. Our aunt and uncle lived next door. They did aquaponic gardening, so we got to help a lot with that and learn a lot of great things from them. They also did raised bed gardening, and that was really the only way in our area you were going to grow some food. Were they very successful? No, not at all. I think we got some overgrown zucchinis, we got some cucumbers, some tomatoes, but nothing that was worth putting up, and nothing on this large of a scale. But that being said, we learned so much, like the importance of worms and soil balance and not overwatering, not underwatering, that sort of thing. Things that you don't really realize you're learning until you keep putting it into motion, and you change things and adjust as you go. So I said all that to say this. I never started a garden. It would have been now because we took a few years off. Had a garden for a few years, found out we were going to move to Georgia, and didn't pursue it. We just figured we would do it when we got here. When we moved here, we ended up doing a garden with a neighbor. We learned a ton there because he's been gardening for a very, very, very long time. And then we bought the property we're at now, and this is our 3rd year, the beginning of our 3rd year. So going into our 6th year of gardening. But I said all that to say this. I started doing this I was never under the mindset that there wouldn't be food on the shelves. Like, that never occurred to me. Was not a place my mind ever went to. I'm not saying that was a good thing or a bad thing. That's just the reality that I lived in. And I when I had my first child, when we had our first child, I began to question everything. I was now responsible for what he ate, what he drank, what kind of medicine we used, how we treated things. That all fell on me. And when you're responsible for another person, let alone a little baby, it really made me double check. And as a nurse, I had a good understanding, so I thought of health and medicine and all of those things. But once I started researching a natural, holistic way of treating things, it really shifted my whole world. And I quickly realized where we were living, we didn't have farmers markets everywhere. We had produce stands, but a lot of that was flown in. You didn't know how it was grown. Buying organic was, 9 years ago, was still very expensive. And I knew that I was gonna have to do this myself. And it didn't scare me, it didn't intimidate me, but it was coming from a place of, I just wanted good food. I wanted the best for my family. If I was going to go through all of this trouble of sourcing good food, why not just put a garden in and do it myself? That was my mindset. I literally had no clue what I was getting into and where this would lead us, but just, I felt this prompting deep down inside that this is what I needed to do. And I went into a waiting room where for a few years I was not able to do that. But luckily where we live now, we have access to some really good local farms, so I was able to support them. I was able to learn from them, and here we are today. So I just felt the need to kind of share where I was coming from. Being in the position we are now, I feel very secure in our choices and what's led us here, but most of all, I'm secure in Jesus. So no matter what, I have hope that we're going to be okay. And I am going to keep growing this garden because it has blessed my soul immensely. This is a balm for my wounds, a time of worship, a sanctuary for me, and I literally cannot imagine my life without the garden. Tell you how many of these guys I find when I'm planting out here, which is awesome because that is another one, another little guy, baby. That is a sign of good soil, which makes me so happy. Kind of what I was talking about on my last video, putting this little pot. This is mint, and as we all know, mint will take over the world, so I don't want to plant this anywhere. But we really enjoy mint. My kids really love tea, and I saw in like a cottage style garden where they had put a pot of herbs, ones that spread, and then planted around it. So these are just little heads of lettuce, and by the time the broccolis get big, those will be ready to harvest. But as they grow and they get bushy, it'll grow around the pot, and I just think it will be pretty, as well as the fact that mint is pest repellent, so we think that will work as well. And then, if it gets too crowded or it doesn't work, I can literally pick the pot up and move it. So. I am feeling quite accomplished. Give myself a little pat on the back. I got the garlic all mulched and fertilized. Here's where I was saying they were getting a little yellow. And it might just be the temperature fluctuations. I had tomatoes in this bed last year. Garlic and tomatoes companion plant very well, so hopefully there's enough nutrition in the soil. I'm not really super worried about that, but I went ahead and mulched. I'm gonna keep mulching it, fertilize it every few weeks. I got lettuce transplanted. I got a few more rows of broccoli transplanted. And now we're good. Now he's coming. What are you doing? They're sweet. I think your dad already threw corn.
Is he still over there?
I don't think so. I thought I heard it go back by.
Okay.
Wanna go get the kids?
Yeah, I'm gonna go blow off over here and then we get the kids.
Okay.
You want this now or later?
Sure.
Okay.
Alright, I'll meet you up there.
You what?
I'll meet you up there. Love you. I also got some more onions transplanted. Actually, onions or leeks. My tags got messed up. So I'm not really sure which is which. It will be fine either way. Wherever they end up, it's not gonna matter. But yeah, that was my bad. Anyway, so I'm very pleased with how much we got done, and I'm very excited to see how this garden season plays out. I think it's going to be a great one. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me today. May the Lord bless and keep you until we meet again.